Welcome to The Work of Warriors, a podcast dedicated to bringing mental wellness to the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Kim Ravage. This podcast is dedicated to the artists we've lost to mental health, addiction, and suicide, and to those who are still suffering in silence. Hello, everyone. Today is just a little extra special. I love every conversation I get to have on this podcast, but today is just a little different. I get to introduce to you award-winning writer and director, David Fischette. With nearly 40 years of experience in the corporate event, production, and creative agency world, David has honed his ability to communicate to large groups of people through live events, video content, experiences, and storytelling. David is the creator of the True West Foundation. I will let him tell you about it, but it is essentially the culmination of the question, what if? For years, David has been hosting unique charitable events to help raise awareness and raise funds and create friends for local and national charities. And the reason today is so special is because he is in December, in just a few weeks, and it will be held at the Fisher Center on the campus of Belmont University. And so if you are in Nashville, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned and check out all the Instagram pages and website for more information. But for now, I am honored to introduce to you David Fischette. Hi, David.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you just start with telling our listeners about your experience in the entertainment industry? I understand that you are an award-winning writer and director, and I would love to hear more about that.
Sure. So I just last week on Thanksgiving, it was the 39th anniversary of me starting this company, which is called Go West Creative. And so I've spent 4 decades basically in the corporate creative world. We also do some television, some commercial work, some web design, but the majority of our work is working with large corporations and helping them with their storytelling and helping them creatively communicate their story in a way that sticks and lands with their stakeholders, their audience, whoever that might be. So because of that, I have learned over the 39 years how to do a lot of different things. You know, I came up through theater. That was kind of my background. So I've always been an entertainer. I also had a band that I played in, which was the genesis of me starting this company, starting a mobile DJ company with some band gear that I had. And so I've always been in that entertainment thing, really drawn to it. Music is kind of the, it's the soundtrack of my life. It's the thing that helps me when I create, So yes, we've done some incredible stuff, so writing content for executives, helping them shape their messages, writing opening and creating opening experiences, whether that's video and live entertainment and whatever that might be, original music to set the tone for shows, whether those are corporate shows or consumer-based shows. And, so I've had the good fortune to be all around the world and do a lot of incredibly different things. And, people often ask me what my favorite project was that I, have produced in my career. And I can talk about some of the large projects that I've done, but I always say, my favorite thing that I ever did is in 2004. I lost a niece at 10 years old, and she was the exact same age as my twin daughters, and they were like little triplets. They were together all the time. And producing her memorial service, this 3-hour memorial service, to me, I still think is like the greatest use of my gifts and talent that I've, ever been able to do. And it's funny, 20 years later, and we're going to talk about my Christmas show. We're actually going to have a moment of paying tribute to her in this Christmas show, which is going to be really exciting. And where after I'm done here today, I'll be on set and we're filming some content around that and kind of recreating her Christmas life, her last Christmas, with a cast out in East Nashville today. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow. Oh, that just touches my heart. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so important. You said I could talk about the larger productions I've had, but the one that means the most. And I just think that's just what being human is all about. And I know that you've taken your experiences and done some really great things, and I want to talk about that. But first, I want to ask you, why is mental wellness important to you? The work of warriors is all about
Mm,
fighting for ourselves first, taking care of ourselves so that we can bring our gifts into the world in healthy ways and enjoy our success along the way. And I'm
right.
wondering, what does mental wellness mean to you? Why is it important to you? What is your experience? Whatever you're
Mm,
comfortable sharing.
sure, of course. Yeah. As I wrote to you in my email, I'm a pretty much open book about these things. Um, and I think mental wellness has become far more of a focus and priority for me in the past few years, right? As I feel like I spent so many years just stuffing all this stuff down, right? And so when my first wife and I divorced we were separated in 2014. I started going to you people told me I was a codependent, right? And that I should go to Al-Anon meetings, right? And I started going to some Al-Anon meetings, and that didn't feel right to me. And then I heard about Codependence Anonymous, and so I started going to Coda right after I moved to Nashville 9 years ago, and that started me on a path, right, of understanding the 12-step program and understanding the decisions that I thought that I was making sacrificially for other people was actually hurting myself and really for a lot of times manipulating other people, right? So it was interesting, but I said in the last few years, it's really been really important. So, 2021 was a really dark year for me, a really hard year for me. I'm remarried and I have a young son, and that new relationship, that new child, has caused a lot of um, disconnection with my adult daughters. Right. So I have three
Mm.
beautiful grown adult daughters, and the whole reason I moved to Nashville was to be close to them because they all went to Belmont, and so we've been estranged for years now, for anywhere between 3 and 6 years, depending on which one of the daughters, and so 2021 was a really, really dark year for me. And that is when I knew that, I couldn't keep going on pretending that I was okay, because I thought I was hiding it and masking it at work. And I wasn't. And I think I became insufferable at work. And people thought that I was never happy with anything that they did. The boss was never happy. And it wasn't about that. It was just, this is all I could do to get up in the morning and muster half a smile. And so I finally, in November 2021, I went to Onsite for a week. And, I'm sure you're familiar with Onsite.
Yep.
It's a, wonderful facility right outside of Nashville. And, they take your phone, they take your laptop. You can't have any connection with the outside world, which I knew going in was going to be okay. But I think the hardest part for me was when they tell you you're going to get roommates. I'm like, ugh. I don't do the roommate thing, but it actually ended up being um, one of the most incredible weeks of my life, and it shifted my perspective so deeply and made me realize the things that I was holding on to that were dragging me down, the millstone around my neck. I was every day trying to fix this relationship with my daughter and figuring out what I could with my daughters, and I just couldn't move the needle at all, right? And so through that, and non-science isn't necessarily a faith-based thing, but because I'm a faith-based person, you know, what it showed me is in that I needed to be able to be strong enough and have the courage to hand over that relationship to God and hand over the care of my children to God until they were ready to be back in relationship with me. And the just the action of saying that and going through that lifted the despair from my life. There's still sadness and there's still, missing my kids every day, especially at the holidays. But the despair is gone. And so I'm a huge champion of what the work that they do at Onsite. but just a champion in general of, we're all going through some crap. And, how is it we have real conversations with people and we ask people how you doing, be prepared to hear an actual answer, as opposed to, oh, you're not going to just say fine and move on, right? It wasn't just a salutation. So that's, for me, that's what I'm focusing a lot about, and that's what the genesis of this whole holiday event that we're doing is about.
Wow. I had no idea. Thank you so much for trusting me and, even
Sure.
our listeners, just to share your
Of course.
vulnerability and your real story. And,
Mm.
one of the things that I was so impressed with, when I was reading the email, if I can read it to you, and kind of going out of order here, but you said so many of us feel obligated to plaster on a happy face or suit
Mm-hmm.
up with a false sense of strength when holiday events and parties are in full swing. And when I read that, I felt it deeply
Mm.
for the holidays, but also for many of us every single day
Right.
of, I'm fine when we're
Right.
anything but fine. And that was why I created this podcast, so we could have these honest conversations about the real struggle of being human, and so that we can normalize the humanity of it instead of feeling like there's something wrong with us, or that we're broken, or that
Right.
we need to work harder or achieve more. And in fact, I just think we need to connect more. And
Exactly.
that's what you're doing. That's what you're creating
That's
in a couple different ways.
When you say the fine thing, I just, I go back to that old thing when people, the old acronym for fine, right? Freaked out, insecure, needy, and emotional.
Neurotic.
I'm
Yeah, and
fine.
emotional.
All
Yeah,
these things,
fine.
right?
So fine.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely fine.
Incredibly fine.
Yeah.
I love that. So I know you have a foundation, True
Mm-hmm.
West Foundation. Do you want to
Right.
tell our listeners a bit about that first?
Yeah. So as I start thinking about, what the next phase of my life is, I'll be transitioning out of Go West here in the next 6 months or so, and I still want to do the creative work. I still want to do the executive producing and writing and all the things I do. I just don't want to run the company anymore. It's been a long time, and I'm just ready not to do that. So we've had a wonderful transition plan in place for the last 3 years, and have a great woman here that is president COO. They'll be taking over for me as soon as I step down. So all excited about that. So as I start thinking about the next step for me, um, there's there's a marketing campaign that we came up with a couple of years ago here, when it was about finding your true West, right? And the concept of True West, and the podcast that I host is called the True West Podcast. And my foundation is the True West Foundation. This concept around True West is that if our true north is the purpose that we're on this planet, the thing we're going to be remembered for, the reason we get up each morning, our true West is our sense of exploration and adventure and curiosity and creativity that helps us achieve our goals, achieve our path, achieve our true north, right? And so just leaning into that, because we've all had times in our life that we've hit a wall, we've had an absolute no, things are not going as planned, and we can either give up at that moment, or we can go, how do we carve our own path? How do we go around? How do we go over? How do we dig under? How do we figure out, what use our sense of creativity to figure out a way to get through it and move on to the next step? And so I just love that thought process, because owning a creative agency for 4 decades, I always tell people my favorite part about it isn't the creative work that I do. I love that. My favorite part is when there's a business challenge. I'm like, all right, let's figure this out, right? It's not just what it looks like on paper in black and white. Let's figure out where the gray areas are. Let's figure out the what ifs. Let's push on every no and go, why is that a no? And let's figure out a way around. So the True West Foundation, what I'm doing is I'm taking kind of this concept I started when I moved here to Nashville. I started hosting these events here at Go West called Cocktails with Creatives, and this was a free event for anybody in the creative community to come and connect, and but to get in Say, hey, this week we're featuring Second Harvest Food Bank. So to get in, bring a couple of cans of food or some non-perishable food items, and we'll give you a drink ticket when you get here, and you can use that drink ticket at the bar. But if you want to continue to drink throughout the course of the evening, and there's live entertainment and all this stuff, if you want to continue to drink, there are 4 to 8 other charities set up around the room, and they have all the drink tickets. Go talk to them. Right. And if you talk to them, give them your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever you want to do, they're going to give you drink tickets and you can keep drinking. So it was just a way to engage more people in the charitable process. So, and I did that because I felt like I've never had enough philanthropic dollars of my own to make a big enough difference with any one charity. And so I thought, could I use my resources, my cash, whatever I might have, and then my talents, and create these experiences and events and bring 100 people, 200 people together to raise awareness, raise funds, raise friends for other organizations. So that's really what the True West Foundation is really all about, is it's going to be a vehicle for other charities to raise money. It won't be about us doing anything necessarily ourselves, but it'll be about helping other charities in supporting them and helping them do good. So the first big swing is this Christmas show on December 16th at Belmont, at the Fisher Center on the campus of Belmont University, which, got 1,727 seats to sell. So, it's a big swing, but it is about the same sort of thing. We're True West Foundation, along with some really wonderful sponsor partners, is funding the entire production. All the costs for the show, so that 100% of the ticket sales can go to the 4 charities that we're supporting, which is Scott Hamilton's CARES Cancer Research Foundation. It's the Alzheimer.org. It is the Onsite Foundation, which is the foundation, the charitable side of Onsite, that scholarships people to go through the program, and then an incredible charity, a nonprofit that we work with here in Nashville called the Nashville Peacemakers, which helps getting urban inner city kids off the streets. But they also have a group called Moms Over Murder, and these are all moms that have lost a child to either gang violence, gun violence, police brutality on the streets of Nashville. And I spend every Christmas Eve with those moms.
Wow. Wow. That's all. I mean, I don't even know where to start. It's so incredible. Thank you for your work. And, I think having that vehicle, like you said, to help charitable organizations, that's some of the hardest piece, right? Is when you've got this entity and this entity, and bringing them together, and, having a vehicle for that is a really wonderful concept. That's amazing.
Awesome.
What is it that you are hoping to create, to offer through Hope for the Holidays, your upcoming event?
Interesting. For me, the event is about the audience more so than the show, right? I mean, the show is going to be incredible, and I've been working my butt off on the show, but it's about the audience. It's about the people coming to an event where they can just come however they're feeling, whatever that is. And which makes it really difficult to market this event, because then people think, oh, is it the Lonely Hearts Club, and I don't want to go to that event. And it's not about that. It's not going to be this big somber pity party type of thing. But wherever you're at, whatever you're going through, just come and be. And hopefully you feel, I want the audience to feel seen and heard and valued, right? And we're going to have resources on site. We'll have some resources available for people there. We'll have several different charities that'll be there. There's a wonderful company called Encourage X that'll be there and doing some, it's like an encouragement software platform for people to reach out to others. And then we're also going to have, prayer teams there, right? If that's something that people want to have a moment where they can connect with somebody, there'll be some prayer teams and some pastors there, that even during the show, if there's a moment where they're like, that hit too close to home, I'm going to go out to the lobby for a minute, there's going to be people out there they can talk to. So we just want to make sure that we give them resources. But a challenge that some of my friends had given me too is like, well, your event is on December 16th. And Christmas is on December 25th. That's 9 days away, right? Maybe people feel filled with hope, but then that wanes over time. So we've created a Facebook group as well that people can join. Go to our website, they can join the Facebook group. And hey, if you need connection and you need community, hey, Tuesday we're going to grab coffee in the afternoon. Thursday night we're going to go to the movies. Saturday we're going to go hike Lake Radnor, right? And have opportunities for people to connect. Because really, when you ask what is that hope that we do, we want to share faith. We want to give the audience love, and we hope to spark hope. Right, that's the thing. We want to spark hope in people, that they feel like they're not alone, that they're seen and they're valued.
One of the biggest gifts that you're giving is that ability to show up as is, because like you said, we are all under the pressure of putting on a face, entering back into, families of origin, stories of origin. A lot of times we're becoming more and more anxious as the holidays get closer, and we often don't even realize that it's happening or why it's happening. And I think all of us, especially this time of year, need a place to just exhale and just be.
Right. Yeah.
And just, like you said, feel seen. There's no pressure. If you want resources, they're there. If you want, encouragement, you want connection without the pressure. Holidays are full of so much pressure, from finances to people to traffic, right? And so I love that idea of just being able to come and exhale and just be and to receive.
We had a meeting last night, and some of the team came up with a wonderful idea. So trying to have something interactive and experiential for the guests, the audience, to participate in when they come pre-show and during intermission. And so we're going to have a couple of large Christmas trees without ornaments on there, and we'll have ornaments where people can write what they hope for on that, and those will be placed onto the tree pre-show and during intermission. But during the second act, we'll take them all off, and as they leave, everybody will be given one. It won't be theirs. They'll get somebody else's hope to take with them and put on their tree. And so just try to connect everybody that's there that night as part of a larger community.
I don't think I could love that anymore. That is a brilliant idea.
Very kind.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about who's going to be there, what that evening might look like, event-wise?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's funny. The whole thing started last year when I went to a Christmas show for my friends Louis York and the Shindellas out at the Franklin Theater last year. And the Franklin Theater is a great spot, and they live out that way, and it's packed out. And I was like, wow, you guys are so amazing, and you have like 40 to 50 gold and platinum albums between the two of them. Louis York is two guys. It's Claude Kelly from New York and Chuck Harmony from St. Louis. So Louis York, that's how they got. But as producers and writers, they Grenade, Bruno Mars, Party in the USA, Myley Cyrus, My Life Would Suck Without You, Kelly Clarkson, Circus, Brittney Spears. They worked with Whitney. They worked with Neo, Christina Aguilera. Rhianna. They've worked with everybody, and they have a massive catalog. So I saw them. I was like, we need to get you guys to the Ryman, or we need to get you to the Skirmahort next year, and let me come alongside you. Let me produce the show. And so we started that in January, and then in late April, I was asked to step in at the last minute and help direct and produce a show at the Fisher Center for all the teachers in Nashville, and including the teachers from Covenant School. And going into the Fisher Center, and what an incredibly beautiful theater that is. It is the most beautiful thing that exists in Nashville. And that night, that night was where I was like, okay, this is what Christmas needs to be about. That's where Hope for the Holidays was born out of that. And so, I immediately booked the Fisher Center, and we started working on the show. And so, as the friends that we see, the Shindellas are an incredible female R&B trio, which we haven't seen anything of this caliber since Destiny's Child. So it's really wonderful, and they've been all up and down the R&B charts. I'm really excited for them. And they're a group that Claude and Chuck formed. They put the group together, so they tour and perform a lot together. But other friends include Charles Eston from the TV show Nashville and Outer Banks, and so many other things. He's such an incredible talent. Ari Afsar, who is a lead in Hamilton, is coming down from New York. We have Jay Allen, country artist, who just broke his first song on country radio. It's a song called "There's No Present Like the Time," which
Mm.
perfect for the holidays. He's such a great writer. We have Twinny, country artist out of the UK that just moved here. Megan Lindsay, who had lots of hits with her duet. Steel Magnolia was runner-up on season 8 of The Voice and has incredible talent. Steve Connell, spoken word artist from Los Angeles, flying in, is going to do 2 really amazing pieces that he wrote. Kathy Lee Gifford will be there. Scott Hamilton will be there. Miles Adcox, who owns Onsite, will be there, and he'll speak and kind of give us some hope there. And the entire thing is be hosted by my buddy Kelly Sutton, who we just love. From she does the mornings on Circle TV, and then she hosts at the Grand Ole Opry. She also, Nashville's New Year's Eve party is always hosted by Kelly, so she's well loved. So we have an incredible lineup, and it's going to be a really fun show. And we're going to deal with some heavy topics, but we're gonna head them head on, and we're going to keep pointing people towards hope, and hope through faith, hope through community, and hope through connection.
I love that so much. It sounds incredible. And
Well, I hope you'll be
you want
there.
to say the date? Say that
Yes,
again?
I said I hope you'll be there.
Well, I have to now. I just
You
learned
do,
about
right? So
it,
you're committed.
but I told
Yeah.
my husband about it, and he's like, "So, are we going?" And I'm like, "Well, I think we are." So,
I
yes.
think you are, yeah. So it's December 16th, at the Saturday night, December 16th, at the Fisher Center on the campus of Belmont University. The website to buy tickets is hope4 holidaysnash.com. Hope4 holidaysnash.com. And there's interesting, because I've had people reaching out to me all over the country, and then we have lots of people flying in for the event, but people that can't make it into Nashville have asked how they can give and be a part of this and help partake in this. And so there are a lot of people that want to come to this event that maybe can't afford this event. And so we have set up a fund through the Nashville Peacemakers that if you go to that website, you can donate. You can select Hope for the Holidays from a drop-down menu, and you can donate whatever amount of money you want to donate, and those will go to purchase tickets for other people that can't afford to be there, that need to have some hope this holiday season.
I love that. Thank you.
So welcome.
The idea of a warrior who is someone who fights for themselves, this is so much in alignment with that, and from both angles, right? I'm going to show up because I'm going to agree that I matter and how I feel matters, and it is important to be able to just show up as I am, no matter where I'm at. And also from the other end of being able to provide that space.
Right.
And so from the Work of Warriors perspective, while it's not a replacement for mental health, it is more about the conversation and the connection.
Right.
What would you say to somebody who maybe is listening to this, who is struggling? Do you have a word of encouragement?
Yeah, it is. It's conversation. It's connection. It is talk to somebody about it, right? Because we've been so stigmatized over the years, right? That mental health, mental illness, right? You're not strong enough, right? You're weak. There's something wrong with you. You're broken, and that's not true, right? We all have
Right.
things that we deal with, and they're all going to manifest one way or another, right? The way I spent years pushing it down, it came out in other ways. I wasn't fooling anybody, but to have the conversation and to take the power away from the stigma, I think that's the first step, right? Who is it you can talk to? And it might be a stranger, right? And there's tons of resources that are out there, people that'll just talk to you about it. But we build up these scenarios in our own mind about what people are going to think about us if we talk about it. And, am I going to lose work? Am I going to, my friends are going to think I'm a freak or whatever it is. And we have to get past that. Because more often than not, when I speak my truth about this, people are crack open and then share their truth about what they're going through. And that's where real healing can come, is once we speak it, take its power away, and enter into connection and community.
Yeah. And I'm so glad and grateful that you spoke about the difference, the idea of mental illness, right? And as a mental wellness coach, I used to be a therapist. I worked in that field of mental illness. And mental wellness is so important to me because, like physical health, we all have mental health. And you wouldn't break your leg and sit on a couch and drink a bottle of wine and scroll on your phone and, pretend it wasn't there. But that's what we've been taught to do with our emotions or our painful experiences or our trauma. And so, the idea of wellness is it's possible for everyone, right? It's possible. Right. And,
Right.
I talk about like the 4 pillars of optimal mental health are, wellness, connection, meaning, and healing. And that connection piece, relationships are everything. And so I just love that you said that. And I think it just reminds us that you're not alone. I've had my experience. 2020 was a very dark year for me. 2021 was a very dark year for you. And just, we're not alone. We just need to keep connecting and normalizing the conversation of being human.
Have you watched this show? I believe it's on Apple called Shrinking.
Was it
it's with Harrison Ford.
Oh no!
Seth,
oh yes, I have. Yes, I did.
Yeah, so it's about the therapist, and what I love about it is just three therapists that work together in an office, and they all have so much messed up stuff in their own life, right?
Yeah.
And so often we look at doctors as, like they're good, they're healthy, and they're strong, and they don't have anything. Yeah, and it's so nice just how they crack that open. Just go, everybody's struggling with something, and so let's just have the conversations.
Yeah, and that is to be human, not because you're bad or wrong or broken.
Right.
You're living in a human world with human experiences, and the whole point of healing is so that we can bring more positive experiences and connections to each other, because when we're not well, like you said, we hurt ourselves and each other. We don't realize we're doing it. But then when we're well, we get to, it just changes everything. If we're well, it impacts everybody we interact with. It impacts our communities. You see things like what you're doing, and it truly, truly impacts the world. And so I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing, for, just this conversation, for the event that's coming up, hoping for a very successful event.
I look forward to meeting you in person there.
Yes, I look forward to it. Thank you, David.
Thank you so much, Kim.